Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're embarking on something really special. A deeply respectful and, honestly, visually stunning journey to a sacred site that stands as an absolute beacon of heritage right in the heart of Budapest. Picture this as a beautifully directed, slow-moving short film. We're going to be taking a contemplative, elegant look at the Dohány Street Synagogue. We'll explore its breathtaking architecture, its incredibly vibrant spiritual life, and, of course, the profound, enduring weight of its history. Okay, let's dive right into this.
To commemorate tragedy, but to transmute it, to create beauty from loss, permanence from fragility. I just want to let that sink in for a second. As we ease into the spiritual atmosphere of this incredible space, this idea of taking unimaginable loss and transmuting it into enduring beauty, well, that's the very heartbeat of everything we're about to see today.
Section 1. An architectural marvel. So as you approach the complex from the bustling, noisy streets of Budapest's 7th district, the sheer aesthetic brilliance of the structure just completely commands your attention. The very first thing you have to understand is the scale of this place. Look at this number, 3,000. That is the seating capacity of the Great Synagogue. Built way back in 1859, this staggering size officially makes it the largest synagogue in all of Europe and the second largest in the entire world. It was this massive, undeniable statement of the Jewish community's significance and cultural standing in mid-19th century Budapest.
Imagine, you're seeing a wide drone shot, just slowly zooming in on the exterior. You'd see these two magnificent, octagonal towers reaching 43 meters up into the sky. They are crowned with these stunning copper onion domes that just glow in the natural light. And the design? It's deeply symbolic. It was intended to echo Jachin and Boaz, the two legendary pillars that stood right at the entrance to Solomon's temple in ancient Jerusalem.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because the Viennese architect Ludwig Forster masterfully mashed up different styles. You see, he didn't actually believe there was a distinctively Jewish architectural style, so he purposefully chose forms used by Middle Eastern and Islamic cultures. You have this incredibly opulent Moorish Revival base, kind of like the Alhambra in Spain, right? But then it's seamlessly blended with Byzantine arches, Romantic historicist details, and even some Gothic touches. It's a truly unique, awe-inspiring fusion. You literally won't see anything else quite like it.
Section 2. Inside the Great Sanctuary.
Now imagine stepping through the intricately carved stone gates, totally leaving the noise of the city behind you. But actually, before we look around this inner sanctum, we really need to understand why it looks the way it does. The Dohány Street Synagogue is the global center of Neo Judaism. What is that? Well, it was a 19th century Hungarian movement aimed at modernizing religious practices to help the Jewish community better integrate into wider society. This specific philosophy directly influenced the architecture, resulting in an interior that, very unusually for a synagogue, closely resembles the layout of a Christian basilica.
So, the crucial takeaway here is the sensory experience of this room. Picture a slow, sweeping pan across a massive 1,200 square meter sanctuary. Sunlight is just streaming through a gorgeous rose-stained glass window right above the entrance. That light dances across intricate, colorful frescoes filled with geometric shapes and shimmering gold leaf, all designed by the Hungarian architect Frigyes Fezel. It is so remarkably warm, inviting, and just grand.
Way up at the front, your eyes are immediately drawn to the majestic Torah Ark, which beautifully houses scrolls that were actually rescued from other synagogues destroyed during the Holocaust. And, get this, right behind it is something highly unusual for a traditional Jewish temple, a massive 5,000-pipe organ. The acoustics in this room are so mesmerizing that legendary composers like Franz Liszt and Camille Saint-Saëns actually played this very instrument. I mean, how incredible is that?
Section 3. A space for reverence.
Now, as breathtaking as the architecture is, we have to remember this isn't just a museum, because it is a living, breathing, sacred site. Stepping onto the grounds requires a real, quiet respect. Visitors go through security checks, the dress code is strictly modest, shoulders and knees must be fully covered to maintain the dignity of the space, and men are required to cover their heads. If you don't happen to have a hat on you, they provide a paper kippah right at the entrance. It's a process that grounds you immediately in the solemnity of the environment.
And if we were to just observe discreetly, we'd see the everyday life of the community playing out. Active worship continues here today. You might catch a glimpse of an open prayer book or a menorah glowing warmly in the background. It's this beautifully quiet, contemplative atmosphere where the past and the present are just continuously, seamlessly bridged together.
Section 4. Monuments of Tragedy. Leaving the grand sanctuary, we must now shift our focus, and really our tone, and step outdoors into the adjacent courtyard and memorial spaces. This is where the heavy shadows of the 20th century lingered deeply. The complex we see today evolved over time, and this timeline marks its darkest chapters. In 1931, the Heroes' Temple was added. But then, by 1944, the synagogue tragically found itself at the border of the brutal Pest ghetto. The horrific winter of 1944 to 1945 turned this holy ground into a place of desperate survival and, ultimately, a burial site. Built just before those dark days, the Heroes' Temple provides a really stark architectural contrast. It's a minimalist, almost Byzantine-inspired space honoring the 10,000 Hungarian Jewish soldiers who died fighting for their country in World War I. Today, because the Great Synagogue is simply too vast to heat, this smaller, much more intimate temple actually serves as the active sanctuary during the freezing winter months.
As we step out into the garden, we are met with a truly harrowing reality. You see, Jewish law strictly prohibits burying the dead next to a synagogue. Yet, during that bleak winter of 1944, starvation, the freezing cold, and fascist violence claimed so many lives inside the crowded ghetto that the community had absolutely no choice. Over 2,000 victims were laid to rest in mass graves right here in the courtyard out of sheer tragic necessity.
Standing quietly above those graves is the Emmanuel Tree of Life, created by the Hungarian sculptor Imre Varga. It's a stunning weeping willow forged entirely from stainless steel. As the wind blows, thousands of metal leaves shimmer softly in the light. And upon closer inspection, you realize that every single leaf is inscribed with the name of a murdered victim. It's incredibly moving. Interestingly, this powerful memorial was actually partially funded by the Hollywood actor Tony Curtis in honor of his own Hungarian Jewish heritage.
Standing here in the Raoul Wallenberg Memorial Park, you feel an almost incomprehensible weight of history. On one hand, you have the devastating loss of hundreds of thousands of Hungarian Jews. But right beside that monumental grief is the astonishing bravery of the righteous among the nations. Diplomats like Sweden's Raoul Wallenberg and Switzerland's Karl Lutz issued thousands of protective passports and ran safe houses, directly defying the Nazis and saving tens of thousands of lives.
Section 5. Enduring Peace at Dusk.
Let's bring our cinematic journey to a slow, meditative halt as we transition back to the quiet exterior of the complex. Picture the warm, golden hour light just starting to fade into dusk. Subtle exterior lighting begins to illuminate the intricate Moorish brickwork and those tall twin towers we saw at the beginning. Visitors respectfully depart for the evening, leaving the Raoul Wallenberg Memorial Park to the quiet shade. The whole site just radiates this profound sense of endurance and peace.
Which leaves us with this final thought. How exactly can one single space hold both the absolute darkest shadows of history and the brightest, most enduring light of faith? The Dohány Street Synagogue doesn't just remember the past, it breathes with life, standing as a permanent testament to a community that absolutely refused to be erased. Thank you for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope it leaves you wanting to explore even more of these incredible historical narratives.